About 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm standing right outside my hostel, walked outside of the gate, and this is what I saw. The spectacular view of these rock formations. You can see over on this side, all the way up there is a small monastery hanging right on the edge of the cliff. Looks spectacular. The weather's looking pretty good today, mostly blue skies, a few clouds. I'm going to go try to find some breakfast and then come back, gather up my things. I've got to do a little bit of stuff online, and then hopefully I'll make it up to check out the monasteries. I found some breakfast. I got some coffee for €1. I had some pastries, chicken and pastry. Total cost about €3. That's a pretty good deal. It's about 11 o'clock right now, and I am headed up to the monasteries. I guess there's 5 or 6 monasteries up here, and I have to walk for about 40 minutes to an hour heading this way down this road, the large road that goes through the middle of the city. And then I'll pay to enter probably 2 monasteries. It's €3 to enter each monastery. So I'm going to go up on top to 2 of the more famous ones, enter those. Hopefully I'll get some video, and then wander around and come back. I've reached the parking lot of the very first monastery. I'm not planning on going into this one, but it's up here on this rock perched here. So this one's about halfway up versus the others that are actually at the very top. Just want to give a status update on the rain. You can see over here in the distance on these mountains, the rain is coming down. I believe I've reached the trail that cuts off the road to the first monastery that I'm going to try to go up to. Walk up through this forest here. There's a couple of large rocks, pillars. Going to try to cut through the little area in between, and the monastery I can see up here. It's on the left hand side, so a bit of a hike to get up there. This is quite the hike. It's really taking a lot out of me. I'm in pretty decent shape for my age, for a 51-year-old, but I'm probably about a third of the way, not quite half the way up, and that's where I've got to go, all the way up there on top of that rock. And I keep pushing ahead, keep going. I made it to the top of the steps, the little trail. Thought there for a while it would just never end. And this is the entrance to the Great Monastery up here, the Great Meteoron Monastery. So I'm going to rest for just a minute and then go in here. This is the first of the monasteries I want to go in. I'm partway up, almost to the entry of the Great Monastery. Behind me, across the way, you can see another monastery. These are quite majestic, quite beautiful. I'm a little bit scared of heights, so this is a little freaky for me. I'm going to continue forward. Bought my ticket for €3 and I'm about to enter into the monastery area. This appears to be the main courtyard of the monastery, so it's quite spectacular with the brickwork back here, the colored glass windows that lead into the chapel area that was nearby. It's really quite nice up here. Some spectacular views up here, all sorts of terraces around the monastery looking down, big giant drops. Sort of freaks me out to stand next to the rail here, but you can see these monasteries perched up on these little rock pillars. It's really quite impressive. Finished here at the Great Monastery, and I'm going to head over to one of the others. There's one in the middle that I'll pass by, and then the one that I want to go to. I'm trying to pick the two best according to the locals. This is another spectacular view of this monastery down below, just perched on this top of this rock pillar. It's really quite impressive. Back behind me over here is the next monastery that I'm going to go to, so I've got to walk down around the road further down. It looks like about 15-20 minutes to get there. I'm almost to the next monastery. It's quite amazing just to see this as I'm walking up to it. It's perched on this rock, just sort of floating up there. It really gives, I guess, a better depth of understanding to where the name came from for this area. It's a Meteora, which means like the middle of the air, the middle of the sky, which is basically what all these monasteries, this whole zone is called Meteora. So it's perfect example of why these monasteries have their name. Arrived at the second monastery that I'm going to go to today, and the last monastery, so I'm going to head up the steps here. I believe it's another €3 to get into this one. I just finished at the Roussanou monastery. It's actually a nunnery. There's all nuns inside. It's really small inside there. I'm gonna head back down into the city, find some lunch, get back to my hostel, and take a nap.
was really fortunate coming back down the hill, about part way down, maybe a third of the way down, 15 minutes, something like that. I was hitchhiking and the car pulled over. Inside the car was a local driver in his car, and then two young ladies from my hostel, and they had recognized me from this morning. Anyway, I was really fortunate and really grateful and very happy to have a ride for the last maybe 2/3 of the way back into the city. So I'm back at my hostel, just got some lunch. I'm gonna go take a nap. That's all I have for this episode. Remember, savor the moment, be happy, pursue your passions. See you next episode.